Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Pinstripe Press. This is episode 34. And as the title, what a roller coaster this start has been. Plenty of ups and downs, to say the least. Lots of goods and lots of bads. How you feeling on this Friday, Mike?
Doing good. Good to be Friday. Obviously Yankees taking the first series loss of the season, losing the first two games to the Blue Jays. Tough series for sure. I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but there was always going to be this time where we're going to go on a small losing streak or be disappointed with the team. So it's expected. Not what we want to see still, but things like this are going to happen throughout the season. Saw a good bounce back in Game 3. I think overall still feeling pretty good about how the season's going so far. Obviously, still I think 13-6, so leading the AL East still.
Can't complain at all. I mean, 13-6, one of the best records in the league. So, yeah, definitely no complaints. But as we saw from this series we'll get into, it was definitely not ideal at all. A lot of mistakes made still in the field, which we'll definitely break down. Mike, you want to talk about some of the recent news the Yanks have put out?
Yeah. So recently we have claimed outfielder Taylor Trammell off of waivers from the Dodgers. And I think we also DFA'd Kevin Smith around that same time. So possibly having Trammell on the MLB roster. I'm not sure if that's actually happening, but that could be what's happening because we are DFAing Smith. But also we got DJ LeMahieu on the fast track to come back to the majors. He's supposed to be playing some rehab games in the coming week or so. And then he'll need some time in the minors, a few rehab games. But once that happens, he'll be back in the majors. Won't be our leadoff guy. Boone is sticking with Volpe as a leadoff, but we will have DJ back, which will definitely help the infield defense. Can give Rizzo some days off at first, Glaber some days off at second, and be the starting third baseman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be great to have him back. Obviously, yeah, we were just talking about it last episode. If, DJ will get his start and roll back, but, like Mike just said, Boone, it came out that Boone said Volpe still has that spot. So, yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how DJ might play. Obviously he's getting up there in age, so, these injuries are wear and tear on the body. But yeah, I feel like from his past, I don't know. I feel like he's better at lead off, but I mean, obviously with the past seasons, he hasn't played as great. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I definitely think we'll benefit from him coming back for sure. But there's still just going to be a lot of questions, and a lot of decisions that's going to be made by that staff there. But let's just get into this breakdown of the series. Coming in versus the Blue Jays again. Our second time playing them, second series here, and this time in Toronto. And first game just not ideal at all. I mean, we got Luis Heel on the bump, who's been exceeding expectations, I think, at least through his first couple of starts. We saw, obviously, if you saw that clip on, our Instagram and TikTok, we talked about recently how, what you're going to get from Heel. He's going to be he's going to try to get those strikeouts, but he's also going to walk guys. And, he did that this game. 7 walks, not good at all. I think his first inning, he had wasn't it 5 guys he walked in a row?
Uh,
Something like that.
I'm not actually sure.
I thought it was bases loaded, and then he walked 2, and they went up 2-0, and it said like he had 5 walks.
He had 2 walks in the first inning.
2. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, throughout the whole thing, 7 walks, getting himself into jams, bases loaded. I think after that like second inning, we were kind of like, oh, there's no way he makes it past like or like makes it past 3 innings. But he ended up going 5, bouncing back a little bit, not allowing more than 3 runs, but really just a disappointing outing. That being said, he did only give up 3 runs. The bullpen didn't give up any, and we had the offense go completely silent, only putting up 1 run. So really could have won that game regardless of Heel's performance, but we didn't. Offense was just not there.
I've just looked. We have some news.
Nick Birdie.
Yeah, Birdie has hit the IL. It's another one on getting injured. They're just popping up left and right.
Yeah, I mean, another guy that we've been relying on in the bullpen early on in the season has been really solid. And now he goes down. I believe he had an outing in this series where he didn't do so great. Wondering if that was, maybe it's the sign that. Oh no, actually, it looks like he pitched game 2 of this series, pitched almost 2 scoreless innings. So, but could have been the reason why he's got this injury. But I believe he's on the 15-day IL. I believe it was like a right hip inflammation injury, and corresponding move is calling up Cody Morris from AAA, who's a guy we acquired in the offseason in the trade with the Guardians, giving up Esteban Florial. So we'll see him in the bullpen. Another big loss to the bullpen, obviously Loaizaga and Birdie, 2 guys we relied on early on in the season going down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another brutal blow. I mean, he hasn't allowed a run at all, like we were talking about. So it definitely sucks, losing him and Loaizaga. But next man up, like we've talked about, we got an offense this year. We know that we have an offense. The question is, will they show up or not? We've always had a strong bullpen. I still think we do. That's one of our high marks, and I don't know. We're just gonna need guys to step up.
Yeah, I mean, with the bullpen, you always kind of trust them for the most part, but as more and more guys go down, you have to find that next guy that's going to step up and be someone that you can trust. We saw it with Loaizaga. There was really finding someone to fill that last spot in the bullpen. You had like Jake Cousins for a little bit. Josh M. Don't know how to say the last name. And now we found a spot for Marinaccio in the bullpen, and now we're going to need to find another guy who we can trust to fill out the bullpen with Birdie being out.
Yeah. So what? Back to our game updates. So yeah, I mean, game 1 not good, 3-1 loss. But just like the bullpen, we move on. So on to game 2, looking to even up this series right here. And yeah, I mean, Rodon's on the bump, and he's back to his old ways. Only goes 4 walks, 3 earned runs. But this was one of the games where the defense doesn't help at all. I think Torres had a couple errors again. It's the same story here going on. He's not playing well, and I think it's definitely something, you got to talk about. the possibility of maybe moving on from him. And this is a contract year for him. And is he really playing up to a contract? I mean, I think he's had a poor start to the season, but it is still early. Just got to step it up, though. We can't allow these errors. Um, and at least if he's making errors, you got to step up at least on the plate, and he's not done that at all. But going on to this, I mean, the offense really didn't show up. Verdugo had two hits here, but 6 hits and only 4 runs to show up from it. And I think the bullpen, Luke Weaver, is kind of leaking oil there. Gave up a couple.
Yeah, I mean, watching this game, it didn't look like Rodon had the worst outing, but the result is 4 innings, 3 runs. So, yeah, it was not a good result. And the offense was quiet until the late innings when we were down. I believe it was like 5-1, and then we come back a little bit in the 7th and the 9th inning, scoring 3 runs, making it 5-4, but too little, too late. Still only 6 hits in this game. So first 2 games of the series, not good for the offense. Doesn't look as bad as game 1 here in game 2, but still, the score line doesn't say the whole story.
No. Yeah, so Yanks drop another one, and that's our first series loss, right? Yeah, so first series loss for the Yanks, and you know, just not two good games at all. I mean, obviously you see 5-4, Yanks have a comeback a little in them, and just couldn't get it going. They had opportunities in that ninth inning, but just couldn't capitalize. And then I mean, on to game three. Let's try to not get swept here. At least take a one from them, and even just taking one, this is good because they're already on a losing streak. So you want to snap it. You want to get that momentum back. And I mean, in this game three, we got Stroman on the mound, and it's a weird game for him. I think this stat, you look at a stat line like this, and this is like a typical Stroman stat line. He almost goes 6. He gives up only 2 runs, but only gets 2 strikeouts. He's usually a low strikeout type of guy. So I mean, I guess looking at it, it's not a terrible outing. I mean, only giving 2 runs, you can't really complain about that, especially with the magnitude of this offense. So I mean, I'm not too mad about that. And the offense picked it up here. Soto had a 3-for-3 game here with that homer. And I mean, really if you look at the box score, like top to bottom, almost everyone got a hit, but Wells and Volpe. And I mean, speaking of Volpe, seemed like an off series for him, which might have been due. He's had a hot start so far, but hopefully this won't keep up. He'll go back to his streaky start.
Yeah.
Uh,
Going into this game 3, we're on a 3-game losing streak, so we really want to snap out of it. Got Stroman on the bump, who's been really good to start the season. Facing Gausman, who we absolutely shelled the last time we played him, which was just like earlier, the first series against the Blue Jays. So we're hopeful. We don't really get to Gausman this time around, only scoring 1 run against him, and then going down 4-1 into the 7th inning. Dalton Varsho with 2 homers in this game. And then we get that comeback starting in the 8th and the 9th inning. Couple of solo shots from Soto and Stanton, and then the bases loaded. We got Trevino with the single and the Judge clutch single to give us the lead. And we end up winning that game. Clay Holmes getting the save. Overall, solid game. Can't be too upset with Stroman, and definitely a good bounce back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I guess my question is, I don't know. Like, what's your take on this rotation so far, from what you've seen at least?
I'm happy. I'm happy. We're making strides from last year, uh, considering the 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 personnel in the rotation right now. I think you got to be happy. Going from 1 to 5, you got Cortez, not looking the best, but making some improvements from last year. Had a couple really good outings, so we got to like what you're seeing out of him, at least somewhat. Next up, Rodon has had a good start to the season. Did talk about the start in this past series, which wasn't that great, but he has been a lot better. Um, and you got Stroman, also talked about not the best outing, but has been very good for us. And then you look at Clark Schmidt and Luis Heel, been shaky, but ultimately mostly getting the job done and setting up the bullpen, not letting the games get out of reach for our offense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just we got to see, once Garrett Cole comes back, hopefully, if the guys behind him keep performing the way they are in the rotation, I think we could be on for a really good season.
Yeah, I think the rotation's really. It's not really asked to do too much. Obviously, we know, Garrett Cole is the ace. Everyone knows that. I think we're just asking these guys to I think just like keep us in the game. That's all they got to do. Just keep us in it, maybe give up a couple runs, if you have to.
Yeah,
But I just don't get us in a big of a hole. And I think for so far they've done that. I think they've done their job well. It's just there's been times where the offense is still inconsistent. There's still flashbacks of last season, which hopefully we get rid of that. But I think similar to you, you got to give props to this rotation so far. I think they've I don't know exceeded expectations, but they've done. I think they've done fair enough.
yeah. You look at all 5 of them. None of them. Only one has an average over 4 or an ERA over 4, which is Nestor. The rest of them under 4 ERA, which is like, very, very solid for a starting pitcher. Obviously, still early in the season, but that's all we can judge right now, what we've seen so far, and it's been pretty good. Um, yeah, yeah, under 4 ERAs, happy with the rotation.
It's good to hear. And that leads us into the good, bad, and ugly. Obviously, a up and down series. This is so. There's only so much. There's really only so much good there. What that we've seen at least. So I think just I guess through the circumstances, I feel like you got to give good to Soto. Obviously, the third game was the only good game the Yankees had throughout this series, and Soto stepped up again, going 3 for 3 at the plate with that homer. And
Yeah.
he's just been good all season long. Nothing else you can really say.
Yeah, Soto's been fantastic. Done everything that we've wanted him to do, been everything that we wanted him to be. All we need to see is Judge stepping up after him, uh, which we saw a little bit in Game 3. But all in all, it was Soto 3 for 3 game, getting on base all the time. Yeah, a shout out to Trevino as well because he was really solid in this series too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Some
and
clutch hits for him.
yeah, and that's been much needed. We've needed Trevino to come up here, and it's good to see him because I don't know. I mean, you kind of were getting concerned a little, no? Like,
Yeah, I mean, Wells now has an average under 100, I believe, and Trevino for most of the start of the season also had an average under 100. So it's obviously not the most key position, but to be getting at least some production out of your catcher, that is very helpful at the end of the lineup with him and Cabrera. Sometimes Verdugo in that 7 spot. So getting some production out of them, definitely helping out.
Hmm. So then to the bad, which it's weird to see him on here already. He's been on this list many times so far for good. But Anthony Volpe, a little shocking series, to say the least, from him. You know, hitting a whopping one for 13 at the plate this series. So not good. Obviously, he's had a great start to this season. We've said it numerous times. Looked like the best player on the team outside of Soto, but not a good series at all from him. He had, was it the second game where he had that the golden sombrero,
Yeah.
4 strikeouts?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was ugly. I mean, it definitely didn't look like him from what we've been seeing this season. But yeah, 4 straight strikeouts, 4 at-bats. Uh, that was pretty ugly. But yeah, it was one series. For this series, we have to give him the bad, but yeah, it was one series.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's only one, which is, it's fine. And really, no one played that great other than obviously Soto in that first game. In the first 2 games, he didn't even play great. But I think, yeah, Volpe definitely stood out, at least on paper, And, they could still be good at bats, but obviously on paper, 1 for 13 is not great. The ugly, talked about it right at the start here of this episode. Luis Gil, 7 walks in that outing is not good, especially again. It's the same, it's like repetition. We talk about these pitchers are just getting in that hole early, giving up a couple runs at the start. And now you're asking the offense who's brand new. That's the thing I think people forget. Like, this offense is new together. You've got new names, you've got new spots for these guys. These guys are still trying to build that chemistry up. So to go ask a group full of guys who haven't really all played together to, I guess come back, string some hits together is not the easiest thing to do. So, he'll put them in that spot's definitely tough, and 7 runs is not acceptable. You need to get that control down, that accuracy. It just definitely has got to get fixed.
Yeah, obviously not the worst result in that game because only the 3 runs given up, but like still, you got to say that it was pretty ugly outing. 7 walks, is in 5 innings is unacceptable. His control was not there at all. Very surprised that he was able to get through 5 innings. But yeah, we've been mentioning it. His control is the concern. So yeah, hopefully he can work on that.
I mean, he could. We keep talking about it, but I mean, how awesome would that be to have him as eventually like our three or four, like that, consistent piece we can rely on. I mean,
Yeah,
because he's young. He's obviously been in the organization for a couple of years now.
yeah, he's young. He's got good stuff. Got great velo. He has the making of someone who could be a really solid starter down the line. And right now, he's just working things out as a young pitcher.
Hmm.
I one thing I want to say about Heel, he's got a few pitches that he's working into the mix. Obviously, he's a fastball heavy pitcher. That's what he's going to be throwing the most. But you also got, he's throwing his slider. He's got his changeup that he's throwing a lot more this season. But I think he's gotta learn to find what pitch he has that day and use it. What we see a lot from him is just relying on his fastball. And obviously, in this last game, he did not have the command on his fastball. Uh, when you see that happen, you want to see him rely a little bit more on his off speed pitches. I think he needs to work on that a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah, exciting things. I think if you're a Yankees fan, you got to be excited about the possibilities there. And, there's always a lot of exciting possibilities for the Yankees. Let's move into the moments rankings. Not that many good moments here. Yeah, that's for sure. Um, Probably more bad than good, similar to the good, bad, and ugly. But at least, we found a couple here. So, moments ranking Soto homer, Stanton homer, their two solo shots. Judge's go ahead 2-run single in that last game to give us the lead, and then also Volpe's game winning defensive play there.
This is a tough one for sure. I think there's a clear top two for me and a clear bottom two, but between them is tough. But I'll go in my four slot. I'll say the Stanton homer. Although it made it the 4-3 game, I think it was a great homer. It was a long homer. Stanton's fifth of the season, but at the time when it happened, didn't really mean too much. In the three, I'll go Soto's homer. Also, similar, like it was a solo homer, didn't mean too much at the time. But it did cap off his 3-for-3 day. So that was good. Next, between the one and the two is really close for me. I'm going to have to say the Volpe game-winning defensive play is second for me. It was a great play. Obviously won us the game, saved the game. Volpe showing that he deserved that Gold Glove, be still a Gold Glove caliber defender. And then that puts in the Judge go-ahead 2-run single. It was just a good at-bat. Obviously, it was what put us in the lead. It was really exciting as a moment. And it was good to see him get into the, come up clutch after a not-so-great start to the season and get us this win.
Mm-hmm. Like that list there. It's weird. It's like Volpe's game-winning play. What do you? I don't how do you judge it? Because he makes a play like that, but then there's we'll see other numerous clips of him then booting these routine ground balls. It's I don't know. I guess that's every player, but it's just I don't know.
I think for the most part, his defense has been pretty good this season. Obviously, we were talking about the infield defense last episode, but really, I don't think he's the main focus of those infield defense problems. It's mostly Torres and especially Rizzo. But with Volpe, he has made a couple errors, throwing errors, fielding errors, but it's for the most part he's making the plays. He's making flashy plays. He's looking like a really solid defensive shortstop out there. I think, obviously he's still in his second year. He's building off of a Gold Glove season in his first year. I think we don't have to be too worried about his defense as of right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep. I mean, you gotta, you just gotta take into consideration about everything, all the details, everything surrounding him and what's going on, and yeah, I think for the most part he's played well. I want to, obviously, Yankees played the Blue Jays here, wrapped up that series, and then they got another in-division game versus the Rays starting tonight. First time facing them, so that should be interesting. They're always a weird team. They always give us problems, but obviously this year they've been, not a great start.
I mean, they're 11-9, so above 500, but yeah, especially with some injuries, some pitching injuries, they haven't looked phenomenal. but still not a team that you can just write off.
Yeah. So to kind of almost wrap this up, I wanted to start our new section similar to the moments. Obviously, if you see it on our Instagram, after each game we have a pinstripe performer of the game. But now let's take this further to your pinstripe performer of the series. So I think we'll each say our guy. Um, I can start it, but so no, take into consideration. Obviously, we got the whole series here. It was a 3-game series, so not too many games, and obviously it was a poor performance. But I think taking into considerations with all that, you know, there's a few options that I think came to my mind. Um, and I don't know. I kind of wanted to. I don't know. He kind of had a underrated series at least. Every game he, every game he got on base, got a hit, and I think not the series, but this season, this guy has definitely. I don't know if it's underperforming, but you'd like him to perform better. But this series, he stayed consistent. With that being said, my pinstripe performer of the series is Alex Verdugo.
Interesting.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I I don't know. I feel like he's been I don't know, not underperformed, but like I said, you want him to perform better. But I mean, this series, you look at his stats. He got a hit in every game. Drove in a couple runs in both of the last games. So yeah, that's my pinstripe performer of the series.
Nice. I like it. So yeah, this is a little bit different than per game because like we haven't I don't think Verdugo has gotten one for a single game so far, and neither will be the guy that I say. But for the series, I think he definitely deserves some praise, especially after the start to his season. I'm gonna say Jose Trevino. I mentioned him earlier. Didn't get the start in game 1 or in game 3, but did get the start in game 2 and gets 3 RBIs in this game. Only 1 hit, but 3 RBIs, putting the ball in play when it matters, driving guys in, with some sac flies, and some clutch base hits. Also in game 3, gets the pinch hit nod in the late innings and delivers on a line drive to give us, I think it was the tie to make it 4-4. So Trevino definitely coming up clutch, getting some big hits, getting a bunch of RBIs this series. So big shout out to him. He'll get my pinstripe performer of the series.
I like it. It's different, and I think when start with this segment, you got to take in consideration, the whole series. Obviously, you got players of the games, but you got to look, I think, deeper into that. How do they perform in the field? How do they perform at the plate? Every at bat. Obviously, you got guys like Soto, Judge, who are going to be showing out every night, but I guess to what extent do they show out for? And, I think both of our selections, I think define the segment, definitely almost like earning their pinstripes a little bit. But yeah, that's something I kind of just thought about on the fly, and I think I like it. I think we'll try to keep doing that every episode, at least at the end. And I think if we play it like the series that have more games, maybe we come up with other awards to go along with that. But
Definitely
yeah,
something
that's
fun to just include and have a little bit of fun. Something that you guys can come up with for yourselves, your award winners by yourselves as well.
mhm.
So yeah, something a little fun. Before we end, I just want to take a little quick preview of the Tampa Bay Rays series with our probable pitchers. It's a weekend series. Got the Friday, Saturday, Sunday games. For the Yankees on the mound, we'll have Clark Schmidt tonight, most likely Nestor Cortez, and then Luis Gil. Obviously, we saw them flip-flop in their order of the rotation because of that doubleheader against the Guardians. Since there was that extra day off, we had Cortez start where Gil was supposed to start. But so yeah, most likely Schmidt, Cortez, Gil against the Rays, who will have Tyler Alexander, Zach Eflin, and Aaron Savali on the mound for each of these games. Eflin and Savali, definitely really solid pitchers. And whenever you're facing a Rays pitcher, you know they're going to be really solid. So yeah, should be some good matchups. Definitely want to win this series because, we don't like the Rays. But, yeah, off to a good start as a team. We're up 2.5 games on them, I think. So, yeah, let's get this series win.
Big game versus a team that always gives us problems too. So curious to see. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this team, faces this Tampa team. And quick thing, any update on Garrett Cole? Just again, I know he started throwing recently. I think it said like end of May, mid-May.
I don't know too much about Garrett Cole right now. I know he's playing catch at an increasing distance, getting up to like 75, 80 feet right now. But yeah, I think right now he's just making steady progress. Still not yet close to him returning, but we're on the right track. If things keep going this way, could be seeing him late May, early June. So yeah, that's the best case scenario right now, but making steady progress.
That's good.
Definitely will mean everything to the rotation, getting our ace back.
100%. That's gonna do it for today. Big series coming up versus the Rays, and we will see you after the weekend after the series. Go Yanks.
Peace.